Hello. Today Christian and I will be discussing our proposal to work with Relay Bike. Relay is a bike sharing company. In 2017, it had 100 bikes and 22 stations. By 2018, it had grown to 500 bikes and 65 stations. We intend to continue this trend. Here is an overview of the system. Relay is a public service that allows riders to rent bikes at a station and then return it to that or another station. Customers can reserve a bike or go to a hub and rent an available bike through an app on their phone. To tackle bike availability, Relay rebalances bikes throughout the day to ensure that bikes are readily available to all users. We are proposing two areas of investigation: bike rebalancing and equity and sustainability. Rebalancing tackles the opportunity of making Relay's bike system more efficient and reliable for users. Equity and sustainability focuses on Relay's opportunity to serve the disadvantaged areas of Atlanta and help citizens make Atlanta a greener city.
Thank you, Cullen. Now to begin, let's look at bike balancing. Now let's analyze Relay's current system. Relay uses a system of two technicians whose job it is to keep Relay's network operating smoothly. The technicians generally move bikes and fix errors. Technicians also prioritize certain tasks above others. Stolen bikes are put first, then long ride errors, then empty stations, and last, low batteries. To measure the effectiveness of Relay's system, there are a few metrics we can look at. We want to know the value labor is providing, the number of hubs assisted per day, the hub traffic, in and out flows, and bike availability, the percent time stations are full or empty. Now we would like to explain the motivation behind our bike balancing plan. Hubs and Relay systems spend time full or empty. Time full leads to inconveniences during parking, such as incurring a fee when parking outside the hub, and time empty forces customers to take longer to find bikes. Both these times decrease customer satisfaction and should be minimized. Specifically, we have found a handful of stations, 4 of which are named in the top right of the slide, which stand out from the rest in terms of time full and empty. These stations also take in 35% of Relay's total business, a significant amount of Relay's customers. So improving these stations stands as a crucial opportunity to increase customer satisfaction. We have also found that these stations on average spend the most time out of any full, over 50% of the time in some. This conclusion leads us to our goal. The goal of this portion of the project is to increase hub availability for pickups and drop-offs for customers by changing 1. Hub capacities, and 2. Implementing accurate rebalancing techniques. Now let's dive into our first opportunity, hub capacity. Our first opportunity deals with hub capacity. Before explaining this slide, we want to clarify that traffic means bikes in plus bikes out of a station per day. We have focused on this statistic in particular because it provides a general sense of the popularity or usage of the hub. To continue, 86% of Relay's hubs have 10 to 12 available spots for bikes, and when they don't, it's only a few more or less. Yet, 3%, which represents the black section on the rightmost graph, have a traffic that is far higher than this small capacity, receiving a traffic of over 40 bikes per day. On the other hand, 65% of all hubs had a traffic much lower than their capacity, which shows an opportunity for Relay to allocate resources. Next, we have a visualization of the previous data. The map showed the average of traffic left, time low middle, and time full right per zip code. The circle represents where the 4 stations mentioned earlier reside. It is no coincidence that these zip codes have also the highest time full and highest traffic. Next, let's dive into our design strategy to take advantage of hub capacity. To capitalize on Relay's opportunity in the realm of station capacity, we propose to better tailor hub resources to match demand. This would be done via a simulation model, which could then be translated into the real world. Using optimization and simulation techniques, we can find an optimum setup for Relay's hubs so that hubs can effectively meet higher demand. To make an accurate simulation, we would need a large amount of data from Relay. This would include trip data and also data on hub usage. Data on costs for our changes would also be necessary for us to present Relay with lucrative solutions to their opportunity. Our solution has 2 drawbacks. Number 1, the model may need too many variables, and 2, high cost and resource allocation. We plan to mitigate the number of variables by only simulating those variables that are most significant to the system. We will mitigate costs by focusing on simple changes first that can be made, such as optimal bikes per hub, and only recommending costly changes if they have a significant effect according to our model. With our changes, we should see the number of customers parking in hubs incurring parking fees decrease. Labor costs would go up initially, but should go down over time due to our system better managing itself. Now let's dive into our second design strategy, rebalancing route optimization. We propose to design an app which will help technicians decide the most important tasks to be done during the day, as well as the fastest route to do these tasks. Therefore, the system will help technicians provide more value in less time. To build the app, we would need access to Relay's current database system, as well as data on technicians and demand. This data is crucial because it will help us find the optimal route for technicians and also how much time they should spend at each hub. There are a few risks associated with this strategy. Number 1, high costs. To mitigate high costs, we plan to first build a minimum viable product and get constant feedback from the technicians. This would allow us to put money in the system only after we are sure technicians will use the system and benefit from it. The second risk is that the app could disrupt the workflow of technicians. To help technicians implement the software more effectively, we will limit our app to a simple user interface and set of instructions. This will ease technicians into using the system. With our system properly implemented, technicians should do more tasks per shift. As a result, more bikes should be where they need to be, and total rides should also increase with higher bike availability. Last of all, complaints of full and empty stations should overall decrease. These metrics should give a general idea of our program's success. Now I will hand off to Cullen to talk about equity and sustainability.
Now that we have gone over opportunities in the current system, we will discuss strategically aligning new markets with Relay's mission. We have the opportunity to tackle unsustainable community practices, as well as decrease equity disparities between communities. Atlanta is known for its love of cars. There are few cities that relies heavily on single-person vehicles as much as her. To target the immense greenhouse emissions, it is critical that Relay Bikes continues expansion. Atlanta has a major equity discrepancy throughout its many different neighborhoods. The discrepancy propagates into what our transportations look like. Relay has the ability to drastically change the commutes of many disadvantaged Atlantans. Let's discuss the opportunities Relay has regarding sustainability and equity. Our analysis shows us what we already know. People in Atlanta love their cars. An overwhelming majority get around in a car. This affair has propagating effects, such as air pollution and oil runoff. We have an opportunity to improve air quality and general environment in Atlanta. A little less than half of Americans get sufficient leisure time physical activity, and especially less so in minority populations. More than 1/3 of U.S. adults are obese. With this plaguing low-income areas at a higher rate, it is important to focus on improving the lifestyle of many Americans, but especially those who are disadvantaged. Using census data, we found there to be correlations between zip codes regarding per capita rate of receiving SNAP, per capita rate of poverty, and, to a lesser extent, per capita rate of having disabilities. We have found that South Atlantan zip codes are more likely to be disadvantaged, prompting Relay's opportunity to give South Atlantans an equal chance to improve their life. Bike capacity, noted on the left, is in the Midtown and Buckhead areas. There are few racks outside of the 4 or 5 central zip codes. To better determine where expansion opportunities lie, we defined a likely user, someone who is gainfully employed, full or part-time, either walks or takes public transit, and is not disabled. We have found most likely users are in the areas south of Atlanta, primarily to the west. A bike share program is well positioned to contribute to the growth of sustainable communities and improving the working conditions of many disadvantaged Atlantans. While Relay has been diligent in their expansion into the east side and the west side, it is time to explore the south side of Atlanta. Combined with previous analysis, we have defined several of these zip codes to be areas to investigate for expansion in the short term, while long-term expansion may include more. For Relay's system to be more attractive, increased city support is essential. We need to resolve safety concerns, ensure affordability through scale, and address the perceived lack of diversity in user age and ethnicity. We intend to implement engagement initiatives to promote Relay's further success. We will staff systems near high-density areas, civic centers, sports centers, concert venues, and more. We will educate people about riding. Classes on renting bikes, safety signaling, lane etiquette, and more can ease concerns of riding bikes in Atlanta. We intend to investigate trip cards similar to MARTA cards that will provide a more affordable method of biking. We intend to look to users for advertising. Through a brand ambassador program, we can provide very cost-effective advertising. Although we have identified the top zip codes to expand to, we are searching for more data regarding high-interest areas and other factors. We recognize that the City of Atlanta is dynamic and it is crucial to periodically reevaluate areas of expansion. We will likely need to gather data from the ongoing census and through Google Analytics or similar tools. We intend to utilize the app's algorithm to ensure our system is capable of handling hubs in new areas as well. It is crucial that an expansion is done after ensuring that it will not impair the ability of Relay's network to operate as intended. Potential barriers to accessing bike share include confusion about how the bike share system works and technology and income discrepancies. Sufficiently funding for success can be very costly. Simply installing kiosks in a low-income area is not sufficient to increase residents' use of bike share. We have noted similar systems that have led to gentrification, which has been reported multiple times, suggesting that bike share membership may hamper its goal of promoting equity. We urge Relay to strive for community engagement, which can help assess what to watch out for and how to tackle these problems. Brand ambassadors might be extremely successful in encouraging disadvantaged to use this service, improving their life, and thus maximizing Relay's ability to mitigate the risks associated with this deliverable. Metrics of success include improved environmental conditions where bike shares are in place. We can decrease high-risk conditions related to lack of exercise in Atlanta. We can demonstrate business success through similar metrics as airlines use, available seat miles and revenue seat miles to determine how much bike use is available, how much of that is used, and overall system capabilities. Atlanta feels as if it is in the early stages of a cultural shift. If Relay can tack itself onto that and further encourage it, it would be indicative of future successes. Here is the intended project timeline. Thank you for your time, and please let me know if you have any questions.